What's up, everyone? Welcome to The Authentic Journey. I'm your host, Ben Beeri, and I'm really excited to introduce our guest here today, Kellie Turner. Kellie is a director of sales for a fast-growing packaging development startup, where she manages and grew an almost eight-figure book of business in the beauty and wellness space. She has developed packaging for some of the most recognized beauty brands on the market, most recently launching packaging for Maine, celebrity hairstylist Jen Atkins' new hair care line, beloved by the Kardashians and Hailey Bieber. Kellie, who grew up as an athlete, played both indoor and beach volleyball, and went on to compete at the Division I collegiate level with a full ride scholarship. She traveled all over the US and Italy to play volleyball. Beyond her corporate success, Kellie's story is also one of deep healing and inner self-love. Diagnosed with Hashimoto's at the age of 5, she has spent her life dedicated to wellness and holistic health. She has become a holistic health practitioner and a gut health specialist, blending science with holistic practices. Along the way, she explored spirituality, moved to Hawaii for 5 months, and became a certified yoga teacher. These experiences led to an ego death, profound self-discovery, and years of navigating past trauma while healing from societal burnout. Today, Kellie stands at the intersection of business, leadership, and holistic wellness, committed to helping others thrive inside and out. Welcome, Kellie.
Oh, thank you so much for that amazing intro. Thank you so much. I'm so excited and grateful to be here.
Happy to have you here.
Thank you. It's been quite a journey to even get here. So I really appreciate you having me on here.
It's exciting. I'm excited for you to share with the world kind of what you have going on right now. It seems like you're working on so many different paths and so many ways to impact other people.
Yeah, it has been such an amazing journey. I'm working on so many amazing things. I spent 5 months in Hawaii living on a Chinese medicine fruit farm, doing some deep healing. And I have been sharing my journey over the past few months over TikTok. I've been growing it to 18,000 followers just within the past few months. I've been sharing my true, deep self, my truest self for the first time in my life. And I have been building a community at the same exact time. And I feel so unbelievably grateful.
And take me back a little bit to when did you first discover or get to the point where you felt the need to be great? Like going back, being an athlete during your childhood. Like, how old were you where it's like, hey, I'm committed to this life of greatness?
Yeah. Yeah. I became a volleyball player when I was 9 years old.
Okay.
So I started when I was really young. And I remember in sixth grade, there's this guy who he taught a lot of professional beach volleyball players. And he came to my middle school to hand me a note in front of my classmates of like, hey, I want you to, he would hand pick his volleyball players. Actually, there's a couple volleyball players in the Olympics right now that he trained. So this guy would hand pick players to train, and he literally came to my middle school in sixth grade to hand me a hey, I want to train you, which is like one of the first memories I have of like I'm chosen. Like this is so amazing. Like I get to go out and play with like some of the best beach volleyball players out there. And so when I was in sixth grade, the high school team started scouting me, and so I developed a very like just performance that from that day forward. I would go out and I would always notice I was never the best player on the field or on the court. I was never the best player on the court. And to look at someone else who's better than me and to be like, I gotta be just as good, it just was ingrained in me. So my dad played track or ran track at Washington State, and he was also in the Olympic trials. And so I inherited it from my dad. My dad was he was my number one supporter. My dad came to every single one of my games. Like he was um from a young age when I was in eighth grade, like if you get a full ride scholarship, like you got to get a full ride scholarship. So it was very like performance was ingrained in me at a really young age. And I carried that through. I was the first freshman on varsity at Huntington Beach High School in 20 years. And every single time I went on the court and played, I had to be the best. It was just ingrained in my soul deeply at that time in my life. And so that led into my adult life very hard, a lot.
And was it I have to be great for my dad, I have to be great for Kelly, I have to be great for my teammates? Like where did that like what was the greatest like driving force?
Yeah, that's a really great question. I don't necessarily know where it came from, but as an adult now, I know it was for my dad.
Okay.
Like, I know the
You
scholarship.
can never connect the dots looking
You
forward. You can
you
always
can
connect
never
them
connect
looking
the
back.
dots as a child or even in your 20s, but like eventually you connect the dots back. When I'm trying to shed this performance, I trace it back to I needed to I needed to get that full ride scholarship for my dad. I didn't want to go to college at the time. But I went and I needed to get it because I could not let him down. I needed to stay in corporate America in sales and be number one because my dad wants me to do that. And that's what he did. Um, and when I did go to him about starting a business, he was like, no, like that's crazy. Your 401k. What about that? What about your healthcare? Like
Yeah.
you must stay and climb the corporate ladder. Which is it's so like he's obviously in his 60s and that's a very like boomer mindset to have. Um, but I think a lot of the reasons why that original health and wellness business that I started, I just shriveled up and ended up deleting the whole thing is because of like the performance because of my dad and he basically like didn't like that I was doing that. And so I just also it was also, I cared about like society and friends. Um but yeah, it definitely comes from like the dad for sure.
And what were the collegiate years like when you were out there playing volleyball on your full ride scholarship?
Yeah. So I ended up playing all through high school, played club volleyball too. So volleyball is a like year round sport. I got a full ride scholarship to Ohio University. So I played volleyball at Ohio University, which left California, went to Ohio to play. And those years were really tough on me because I developed a pretty severe knee injury. So I tore my meniscus and then I got patellar tendonitis, um, where if anyone has had patellar tendonitis knows like it's a long road to recovery and it's something that you just have to kind of play in the pain, and surgery doesn't help it. Um, and it progressively got worse. And I also broke my right ankle and then I broke my left. I had a series of injuries that happened like in a row. Everybody who knows me now that played with me then is like, oh yeah, the injury girl. Like the person who just like could not catch a break. And I continued to compete against other women who were phenomenal athletes and I couldn't beat them out on the court, even though I was injured. And it was a depression that I fell into in college. And a lot of it has to do with how much I suffered in high school with partying, actually. So in high school, I did two things in high school. I was an exceptional athlete and played sports, and I was a drug kid. I ended up doing a bunch of different pills and opioids and drugs when I was 15 years old. So my parents were going through a pretty significant divorce when I was younger, and I coped with that with doing a bunch of drugs. And I had a surgery. I had got my tonsils taken out when I was like 15 and they gave me Vicodin and I like just couldn't stop and I just went down this path of doing drugs. And so I've been able to trace back to like my injuries and my body doing all of that at a really young age didn't let me or help me become a professional athlete that like I really, really actually wanted to do. My body ended up not being able to like develop, I feel like, and became really weak by the time I was in the collegiate years. So for whatever reason, by the grace of God, I got a full ride scholarship, which is something I am so grateful for today, because if I didn't get a full ride scholarship and move to Ohio, I would have kept doing drugs. And it's like the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, had me in that moment and was like, you're going to go this way with life. And I stopped doing that, but I had injuries along the way. So I ended up hanging my jersey my 5th year of college and no longer playing. And so that was like the first, like my college experience was great. I was a great athlete, but I had injuries after injury after injury to the point where I had to hang my jersey at the end of it all.
Okay. And then so when you went from high school to college, what was the turning point or what was the decision that was made on your end? It's like, hey, I'm not going to do drugs. I'm going to kind of stick to this path.
Yeah, so that wasn't my decision. I wanted to keep doing drugs. I wanted to keep partying. I having a social life at that time, going back to talking about needing external validation, um, that felt better for me when my parents were going through a divorce, was to go and do drugs and party and be popular and have friends and socialize. That was more important to me than going to a D1 school to play volleyball. I didn't understand at the time how important that was for me. I have this person, his name is Craig. He was my or my high school volleyball coach. He took me to every single one of my teachers in my classes, and he was like, she's going somewhere with her sport. Don't fail her. Call me if she doesn't show up to class. And to this day, I am so grateful for Craig doing that. And then Craig also went to my parents and he was like, this girl needs to leave. So I had someone who saw something in me and basically was like, it's time for you to leave. And so I got a full ride scholarship and I left. And that wasn't something that I actually wanted to do at the time. And I'm so grateful for it.
And what did it mean to you at the time when there was somebody who believed in you, not only in you as a person, but you like not only in you in your career, but also in you as a person?
Yeah, at the end of the day, I wanted to impress my dad. And so I did it. It didn't mean much to me at the time. I think when you're a kid and all you care about is partying, you're not developed enough to understand the people who are really there for you until way later in life. And I just reached out to Craig the other day, actually, because we still keep in touch now as an adult. Like, he was this like angel that went to my parents and was like, we need to get her out. So you don't recognize the benefit of the person at the time. You're just doing it because you're trying to impress like your father, basically.
And the whole term of like getting her out, does that mean getting her out of state? Does that mean get her to stop partying and doing drugs? Like what is that whole what was that whole process like, or what do you remember about how that unfolded?
Yeah, it's getting me out of state to get away from the environment that I was in.
So it was the environment that was getting you to do the drugs and the
Yeah.
partying, and it was kind of the people around you and seeking
Yeah.
the validation from friends.
Seeking validations from friends, partying a lot, being in a negative environment, seeing that I have potential to, and by the way, I had scholarships to, I had other offers. I had offers to go to Oregon. I had offers like Duke was looking at me, and I lost every single one of my scholarships because of how much I partied and how my grades were. So I took what I could get and got a full ride scholarship to play in Ohio, because I needed to get out.
So it was get out of the environment, go to Ohio. So you get to
Yeah.
Ohio, you're still on this route of the dream is not necessarily to become a professional volleyball player, the dream is like, hey, I have to keep this thing going, keep this thing alive. So my dad approves of me.
Hmm.
And as long as dad approves of me, I'm going to keep playing volleyball. You continue to do that. You said you said during your 5th year, you hung your jersey up, you quit playing. What was that like for you? Like, what was that decision making process like, knowing that, hey, dad wants this for me? This is likely
Ugh,
going to disappoint him.
I feel for every athlete who has to hang their jersey. Like, there's one thing to get through your career and then you're like, okay, it's over. But having to hang your jersey for an injury is like it's just like everything is crashes down in that moment. Like it's like you want to be the best version of yourself and you want to be the person on the court that is number one and playing every single weekend and knowing that you're never going to play again because you are hanging your jersey and you're having a doctor tell you 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 have no other choice is such a tough thing to go through. And you also feel really lost. You play your sport for, I had been playing for 20 years, basically, at the time. No, a little like 15 years. I had been playing for 15 years at the time. And it's all you know, it's your identity, basically. And it was just very confusing. It's like you don't really know what to do besides cry. Like it's like, so I got to be a normal student after that for a little while, and it's just hard to go through.
And you talk about hanging your jersey up, and for every athlete to hang your jersey up. How do you relate hanging your jersey up in volleyball versus hanging up your jersey for your corporate America career?
Mm, that's powerful. Hanging your jersey up for your sport when you're injured, it's like I didn't want it to be over because I wanted to play professional. I wanted to keep going. That was my goal as a kid. Hanging my jersey and closing the door on my corporate career is like, I actually feel like I'm putting on a jersey right now. I actually feel like it's game time. Now I get to start what I want to start, and I'm not working for someone else's dream. I'm working for my dream. So I feel like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm like putting the jersey back on. Like it's game time now, you know?
There
And
we
it's
go.
like my success moving forward is because of like my performance, like my consistency. And that's something that I get to practice every single day. Um, so it's an interesting concept that you just like put into my brain right there. Um, yeah.
And you've got this whole situation. You're putting on this new jersey. You're excited. You're chasing those dreams. What are those dreams and where do they stem from?
Yeah. So I one of the big things that I um want to pursue in terms of my dreams is spreading the ripple effect of health across the world. So I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's at the age of 5. For anyone that doesn't know that, it's a thyroid disease that really impacts um, hair, skin, nails, fatigue, brain fog. It literally is like the core of your whole entire body. And so right now my thyroid function, it's 90% destroyed, my thyroid. But I was diagnosed when I was 5, which is extremely rare. So people typically don't get diagnosed with a thyroid illness until later in life. And I was just given this like little pill to take every day since I was 5. But just because you take a pill, your symptoms actually don't go away. So as I've aged, and then I also partied because I went through this like trauma I went through with my family, my lifestyle made it worse. And so I've had hair fall out. I've had brain fog so much that I couldn't get out of bed. So I have been so affected by my health that it has now been given it's like my purpose to really spread the words of health. Like I want to shout it on the rooftops and really give people love and support through mostly Hashimoto's or women's hormones specifically. Um, thyroid illnesses haven't been updated. Our medical society hasn't been updated since the 70s. There's so many different changes that need to be had and lab work, and it's like a puzzle piece. It's a huge puzzle piece when you get diagnosed. And I feel it's like my duty and obligation to help women in this area heal, but not only help women in this area heal, help corporate women specifically. Over the last 10 years, I have severely developed burnout to a point where I have not been able to function as a person because of the corporate America hustle and hustle culture to work a 9 to 5 every single day. And I have such a love for women in that space because women don't operate like men operate. And that's an area that I feel like that I know that I need to be in moving forward.
And what is your message to those women who are in their 9 to 5 corporate era? They got their jersey on, they're ready to go full force. And what do you say to them about taking care of themselves and taking care of their health and just making sure that they're solid and they're good?
Yeah. Well, the first thing I would say, if they don't know already, I'm so fortunate for TikTok specifically because people are learning so much about this right now. But the first thing I would tell them is women operate on a 28-day cycle and men operate on a 24-hour cycle. We are absolutely not the same. And we operate in 4 phases. And the best possible thing a woman in corporate America could do for herself is to track her cycle. There's 2 things, actually, I would say, is track her cycle because we operate like this. We operate like this, like where it's like a hill that we climb, and men operate like this. And so when a woman can tap into all 4 phases, you can play with your energy levels to increase productivity and know when you rest and know when you're more intuitive. And you can plan around that to become even more successful than you already are. And the more you learn about it, the more you're equipped for better success. And on top of that, of course, consistently like checking in with your hormones and being on the right diet to support the amount of output you want to make as a woman in corporate America. And then the second thing I would tell a woman is regulating your nervous system. It's such a popular topic now. Everyone's like, you need to regulate your nervous system. You need to regulate your nervous system. But I don't think people technically know how to do that. But
Well, a lot of people don't know what that is. Can you explain for the people who don't know what that is? What is regulating your nervous system?
Of course, yeah. So I'll just touch on it really lightly, but we basically have our vagus nerve, which is this really large nerve that goes from our brain all the way through our entire body. So you could think of it looking like a big tree with like a bunch of branches, and it touches every single organ in your entire body. And when you are dysregulated, it is touching on every single organ. So I'll give you an example. So I love this phrase. It says like, you cannot be stressed and digest at the same exact time. It doesn't exist. And we're going through an epidemic, a true epidemic of chronic stress in the world. And you cannot be stressed and digest at the same exact time. So that's a really great example of your vagus nerve, this huge nerve that touches every single organ in your body. When you are stressed, your stomach and your digestive system literally can't even move because all of the blood flow goes to your muscles and your brain and thinks that you're like fighting something because you're so high stress. And so many people are sitting in chronic stress 24 hours in a day. So that means they can't sleep properly, they can't digest food properly, which all of that leads to disease. And your hormone disruptors. So I want to stick in the hormonal field. I want to stick with thyroid, and I want to help that area specifically to corporate America women, but there's so much more to unpack. So much.
Let's do it. We're here.
Just so much more to unpack in terms of just like the things that are just underneath in the health field in general that like.
What do you think needs to happen, or what do you think needs to be unpacked?
No, I just mean like there's so much more to unpack in terms of just like the health field in general, and there's so many other challenges to face out there. But I really just want to focus on like helping women in corporate America.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how can you help those women?
So over the past few months, I went through a pretty significant thyroid flare-up. So we call them flare-ups when you have Hashimoto's. And having a flare-up is just like when it triggers your autoimmune, like it triggers your thyroid to flare up, and it like wreaks havoc on your entire system. I actually am going through it as we speak. But basically you really can't function throughout your day properly. Like you have brain fog. It's really difficult to get out of bed. And I had been so impacted by my health that I started posting on TikTok over it. And so there's actually a couple reasons why I posted on TikTok. Are you familiar with Higher Up Wellness?
No, not specifically.
Okay. Higher Up Wellness is this guy who started posting on TikTok every single day back in 2023. So this guy, like, what is that? Like basically like not long ago. But he started posting on TikTok a couple years ago, and he's been in corporate America his whole life. So he has a really similar story to me. So he's been in corporate America his whole entire life, but this dude is like super ripped, super into his health. And so he started making a TikTok about just going to the gym, working out every day. But he would come up and talk to his camera every single day just about like what we should be eating, just about random stuff. And this guy just like blows up, and he ended up running like a coaching business out of it. And now I think 2 years later, the guy has like 1.4 million followers, and has a full blown like coaching business. And now he's actually on tour. I think he's on tour, like doing like speeches or something like that. And he challenged the whole TikTok community to post every single day on TikTok and just see what happens with your life, because his life changed so drastically by doing so. And so he has this challenge where it's post every single day on TikTok for 60 days and see what happens to your life. And so there's two things that had happened to me during like over the past 6 months. I've gone through a pretty significant thyroid flare-up and health issues. So that's one thing. But the second thing that I've also been going through simultaneously is this, as I've told you, like this like identity, like an ego death that I went through. And I decided to post every single day on TikTok. I basically have gotten like the end of my ego death. I was like, what a great way to end my ego death than to actually show myself on social media. Like now is like the real game time, like is to really like show your true self. And I think that is when you come to a place of like true self-love, is when you're not scared to show who you are. And so I basically was like, fuck it. That's where I was at. I was like, I don't look cute today. I don't have makeup on, but I'm going to start talking to my camera every single day. And so that was June 1st of 2025. So, or like June 7th, I think it was. And so I get up and I start talking to my camera. I have this health issue going on. And I'm also, not only do I have a health issue going on, but I have like um, do I still care what other people think of me? Like, I'm going to talk to my camera. Like, this feels freaking weird, but like, I just feel like I have to do this for myself. I want to help other people heal, and I want to tell my story, and I want to build a community. Like, that's why I want to leave corporate America. And so I get up on there, I start talking every single day to my camera. And then like the first few days felt so weird. But by day 6, I had 8,000 followers. And it had nothing to do with like the followers. It had everything to do with building a community of people who were learning by the things that I have learned, by this health issue that I have that so many other people are struggling with right now. Um, and so it has been, that was like middle of June. And so I have 18,000, almost 19,000 followers now on TikTok just from getting up and talking to my camera every single day. And so it's not about like me talking to my camera every single day and how I want to help women. Like, and that it's really just like the things that I have learned. I know I'm impacting those people and I'm developing a community of people. And so, how I want to help women specifically is, so I want to go back to school to study thyroid and hormone health, and I want to learn how I can help these people. Um, and so that's where I'm at right now in terms of that topic. And it's all going really well so far. I mean, truly in the past 2 months, so many things have happened for me just because of posting on TikTok and just because that guy higher up wellness told me to do it.
There we go.
Yeah.
And what, like, how would you say, like, I mean, you said so many things have happened for you. Like what, can you give us some examples of that?
Yeah. So within the first week of me posting on TikTok, so I grew it to 8,000 followers. I had this content creator agency reach out to me to like join their agency, and I joined it. And so basically this agency like links you up with brands to work with to get like brand sponsorship. So that's the first thing that happened to me. And also I booked that creator agency through this guy who reached out to me on TikTok, and he's like, "Hey, I saw you grow so quickly. Like, I would love to meet you." And I book a call, like a networking call with this guy. This guy owns over a um over a 7-figure beverage brand. He sends me all this like PR package of all his like beverages to try, and this guy is just like such an amazing connection that he knows all these other people that I'm now in contact with to help and work with their brands. And so that was just like that's the first thing that happened. Um, I also had a functional medicine doctor within the first 2 weeks. I'm talking about my thigh. And by the way, the topics that I was posting about on TikTok are mindset, manifestation, and having a thyroid illness. Those are the 3 topics that I talk about. And I had a functional medicine doctor message me, and she's like, "I've been seeing that you've been talking about your thyroid, but something sounds really weird. Can you send me your lab work?" So this woman on TikTok sends me her number. I text her my lab work, and she books a call with me at like 8 p.m. at nighttime. And then after I have one phone call with her, she puts me in her whole entire thyroid program for free. Not like I'm willing to pay for it, obviously, but like then that happened, and I got this person who is willing to work on my health, which I'm so unbelievably grateful for. Um, and then most recently, I had a advertising agency reach out to me to potentially partner with them on my consultancy that I just opened up. I just took a call with them yesterday. All within a month and a half, 2 months of me posting consistently on TikTok. One of the main videos that I posted on TikTok was a video about the suggestion from Higher Up Wellness to post every single day on TikTok for 1 year. and you'll never have to work a day in your life again. And it's not like you'd have money just flooding in right away, but it's going to open up every single door for you to grab at and change your life and be successful. And I'm a true, like, I'm literally walking that like life right now, just within 2 months of posting. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens over the next year.
That's amazing. And when you're like going from being in corporate America, going to transitioning out of it, you're opening your consultancy right now. You're posting on TikTok. You've got all these different opportunities coming your way.
Mm-hmm.
What is your message to somebody who's in corporate America? You've got a lot of women who are in corporate America. They're sticking it out a lot longer than they would really ideally desire
Yeah.
to be in corporate America. What is your message to them? What do you say to somebody who is in corporate America much longer than they want to
Mm-hmm.
be in there for?
I was in that. That was me for a lot longer than 4 or 5 years longer than I wanted to be. One, there's two ways you can do it. You can either take the risk and just leave, trusting the universe that it's got your back and whatever's meant for you is going to happen for you. And that is obviously a risky thing to do. Or two, you find what you are truly passionate about at the same exact time that you're still working, and you get to work on that passion project outside of work. For me personally, I ignored my passion and purpose to go in the direction that I wanted to go in for so long that I'm literally being dragged from like even a spiritual perspective. Like I had so many health issues that came up. I almost had to be like, the universe just like shoved me into this corner, and it was like, you have no choice but to quit. And now your back is up against the wall and you have to, it's game time. Like that's what happened to me, and I had to get to that place. But for others, people, I mean, your health is your number one thing that you have in this lifetime. And making sure that your nervous system is regulated and that you are feeling good before leaving is really, really important. And finding what you can add value to this world and how you can help others in order to make money. I think so many, especially like high level, C-level or like managerial level women in corporate America, they would have a hard time leaving because of how much money they're making, and being okay taking a step back for a little while in order to take a huge jump forward. And that's a really difficult thing to do. For me, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. For me, like, I'm not living for the weekend anymore. I refuse. I refuse to do it. And I think it just takes a certain type of person who's like that. Some people aren't like that. Some people don't think that way. Do you think that? I know you certainly don't think that way. You're like, I want to work less. I don't want to live for the weekends. There's no way in hell I'm going to work a 9 to 5 every single day. Some people are okay with that.
Well, it's interesting because we all value different things. There are different things that to us are worth it, right? And
Yeah.
it's like some people, I can go out and put all these hours in to a job and I make a certain amount of money, and that to me becomes worth it. I can give up my health, but I make a certain amount of money, and that's worth it. And then there's some people who say, I don't care what the amount of money is. I get to keep my health. I get to work out. I get to exercise. That's worth it. I don't care about the money. I get to do what I love. I get to do what I enjoy. I get to be around people that I care about. I get to have great community. And that's worth it. So it's really interesting, the concept of us as people defining what to us is worth it, because the pecking order of what is worth it to us is different for every single person. But I think ultimately it just comes down to where are the areas where you can believe in who you are as a person
Mm-hmm.
and go, hey, this to me is worth it. I'm going to go after it and let the chips fall where they may.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of interesting when you think about it that way. And it's kind of exciting to hear your story and your path of, hey, it's no longer worth it.
Yeah.
So now the question becomes, what is?
Yeah. So, in no particular order of what is worth it to me and the things that I value in my life right now, it is worth it for me to slow my life down while building the things that I love. And what I mean by that is I love a slow morning routine. I love waking up and walking down to the beach and sitting on the beach and journaling and being alone and sitting in my thoughts. So, I mean, just I really value slowing my life down and spending time alone with my thoughts. It is one of the things that are sacred to me is that type of morning. Um, it's worth it and such a high value for me to spend time with people who are giving me energy and people that I admire and people that inspire me. I would say that's like number one for me is spending time with people that continue to help me level up. And it is worth it to me to prioritize the food that I'm eating and my health and caring a lot about my thyroid stuff that I'm going through and like eating the right foods to give me the right energy so I can sustain and create the things that I want to create. Um what else? Those are definitely my top 3.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm excited for you that you were able to kind of narrow that down for yourself
Yeah.
because so many of us spend so much time figuring out what is worth it to us. And many of us never do. Like we sit there and we pursue something. Kind of like you were saying earlier, you were pursuing a certain level of greatness, but the greatness wasn't for you at first. You were pursuing the level of greatness because it was going to earn you approval from your father.
Mhm.
But the cool thing is it sounds to me like you actually were building the greatness for yourself. And as soon as you were able to get to a spot where you realized you're like, wait a minute, yeah, sure, I was doing it for him at first, but I still get to keep that. I still get to keep that greatness that I built. And I guess for you is right now looking at this next stage in your life and knowing what's worth it to you and knowing that you've got that level of greatness that you've built. Where do you want to channel that and like take that greatness and like get to that level where you can kind of create what's worth it for you and show the world who you are
Mhm.
and be that person that can be authentic and not really worry about seeking any type of validation and just being the person that, hey, I'm showcasing Kellie Turner to the world.
Yeah, yeah. Even going back to what we were just talking about before the show, talking about it's all about the journey rather than the actual destination. And there are so many things that I want to build and accomplish moving forward. And I actually don't know what it is fully yet. I what I do know though is that being in my true self throughout this next phase of my life and my journey and making the decisions of showing up for like truly myself and my full authentic self is how I know I'm going to channel my greatness. And so, and how I know that is working is showing up and actually posting every day on TikTok and sharing um myself and showing my true self. So like getting back down to my true authentic self and not only just getting back to my true authentic self but also my inner knowing. Like knowing your inner self is the best possible thing a person can do on this planet. I'm learning now that inner self-love and getting to know your inner self and like loving that fully is like the greatest fulfillment that you can do in this lifetime. Because when you get to that place, you feed it to other people. You don't have a need for true like judgment to other people. When I surround myself with other people who've accomplished inner self-love, they feed it back to me. It's like you kind of have these like little glasses on once you get to this like inner self-love. Like you like you're just like rose-colored glasses for everyone. Like I love you, I love you, I love you. And I haven't met anybody who is like more successful and has gone to this like inner self-love who is judgmental towards other people. In fact, the people who've accomplished this like inner self-love and know themselves really well and have grown their business or their great thing that they've done, I don't know one of them that is rude to people, who gossip on people. It's just such a great, like, fulfilling and amazing thing. And so to answer your question of like how I'm going to channel my next step to greatness, I actually don't know what my greatness is that I'm truly building or really truly what's next for me. But what I do know is that I get to speak my truth and I'm like undeniably like in love with my inner self now.
That's like the best possible answer
Yeah.
you can give. It's like you've got the glasses on.
Yeah.
Like, welcome to the club, everyone.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, you got your glasses, you're ready, you're waiting to hand them out to people. Like, hey, like, come join. And it's a beautiful thing because when you've come to accept yourself as a person and you love yourself as a person, it's like all you want to do is just see that for other people. Like, you want to see other people. It's like, hey, come put on those glasses, come join the club, like, have that inner self-love. Be yourself. Nobody's judging you. All we want you to do is just be yourself and do the things that are true to yourself. So that's amazing.
Yeah. And as someone who has come from a place of really, really deep depression in college and have gone in and out of being diagnosed with CPTSD. And when I got diagnosed with CPTSD, they basically were like, your lows are low. Like you have a harder time pulling out of your lows than other people. And I have been in just some of the worst, lowest depression states where I was considering ending my life, like on multiple occasions. To get to a place where I'm at now and to go through the authentic journey and go through this ego death, it's like once you get out to the other side, it's like it makes the journey worth it. And it just makes life like so worth living. And so when I'm around people who haven't yet, gone through, like they haven't reached this like point of like inner self-love or they're just kind of going through their own stuff, I have so much love for those people. And um I love helping those people through things like that. And then on the other side, I love spending time with people who like once you get to a place of like inner self-love, like you can't stop searching for more. Like you can't stop raising your energy. Like you just once you learn more about like raising your energy and raising your consciousness and mindfulness, you can't stop going down that path because it's like you genuinely start creating heaven on earth. Like that's what it feels like.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That is so amazing. So out here spreading love,
Yeah.
spreading messages of encouragement for young women in a corporate environment to just believe in themselves, going out and doing their thing and doing what feels right to them, taking care of your health. I mean, just such an incredible conversation, Kellie.
Yeah.
So excited we're able to have you here on the Authentic Journey today.
Thank you.
Where can people, I know you were saying you've got some things going on with TikTok and Instagram, and
Yeah.
where can people connect with you further?
Yeah, so right now people can connect with me on TikTok only. It's Kellie Turner underscore. And there's a couple things loading up there. So I'm going to be launching a couple courses on there or a couple workshops. So they can stay tuned for that. But as far as that goes, feel free to DM me and we'll go from there.
That's amazing. It's
Yes.
so exciting. And yeah, thank you to everybody for tuning in today. It was such a pleasure having such an amazing conversation with Kellie. She's got so much going on right now, and she's just sharing all her love and all her light with everyone. Thanks for tuning in. If anything that was said today resonated with you, we'd love it if you could like our content, subscribe to our content, share it with your friends. We'd love for them to hear the message that we have here on The Authentic Journey. I'm your host, Ben Beeri. You can connect with me on Instagram at Ben Beeri, BenBeeri. And we'll see you here on the next episode of The Authentic Journey.